What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to Two Perfect Podcasts. My name is Yzel.
My name is Renz.
And we're not
Perfect! Two Perfect Podcast is dedicated to three things.
First, we are dedicated to sharing super personal stories and owning our imperfection.
Second, we want to create a safe space where we could be our most authentic selves.
And third, we want to build a community for people like us who are fed up with the pressure of trying to be perfect. And thank you so much for checking in. Before we start the episode, make sure you like, subscribe, follow in wherever you are consuming this, whether it be podcasts or on YouTube. If you haven't listened to the podcast, listen to it. If you haven't watched us on YouTube, watch us. Two Perfect
take a
Podcast.
Sneak peek.
Yeah. Our email, twoperfectpodcast@gmail.com. You can email us anytime if you like the content, if you have questions, or if you want to answer any of our questions. Go ahead, feel free to email us. And then also, if you like the episode, share it with your friends and family. Let's discuss, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And there you go. So, also, today's episode's super special.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow!
Because we're going to be talking about what brings us comfort, what really just automatically brings us back to childhood, and that is our favorite anime.
Yeah, it's such a big part of my life growing up.
Really?
To be honest, yeah.
Why is that? What do you mean? Why would you define it as a big part of your life?
Because I was obsessed with it.
Mm-hmm.
I literally consumed any anime that was like available to me because like back then I feel like it was there wasn't a lot of options. It's not like today where you turn on Netflix and you're given like a plethora of like whatever you want to consume. But back then it's like, oh, these are the list of animes that's available, that's broadcasted, and I'm just like, I'll watch it all. So if it's
totally
an anime,
forgot
I'll
that.
watch it.
I totally forgot that. You had to really wait for your show, so you had to build loyalty because you were only able to watch it that one time that it was being aired.
Exactly, and sometimes they compete because like that's like the most the best time to air it to children. So I know a lot of people were like, there was like a fight between like the Digimon that watch Digimon and then the people who watch Pokemon, where it's like, this or that, this or
Can
that.
I just say that I actually prefer Digimon? Low key, the whole time that competition
was
happening, I love Digimon, but I think I was not vocal about it.
Yeah,
and
because the
following for Pokemon was
huge,
larger. In my community where I was growing up, everybody loved Pokemon, and Digimon was like cool.
Yeah.
It's not that people talked crap about it or they didn't say anything bad about it, really, but there was just so much craze and love for Pokemon that it was kind of like Digimon was
the underdog.
The underdog, yeah.
I would compare it to like the iPhone or like the Samsung users, or the Samsung users, in my opinion, are a little just like, they're just whatever. Like they'll take the jab, but iPhone people, they're always just like, no, wait, we're better. And I'm like, okay, no one's talking.
What is the deal with that, you guys? Like, it's a phone. Get over it. It does the same thing. And that is what a Samsung person would say.
Exactly.
Exactly. But an iPhone person is like, dude, it's a part of their identity. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm an iPhone person. Like, get a fucking life.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit, you guys. Yeah. Oh my god, they're gonna come first. This is how we get canceled.
Oh, because I'm not an iPhone user? Please, cancel me then. That's what a Samsung person.
Exactly.
But now it is my identity. Yeah. Uh-huh.
But same, I also really enjoyed like Digimon because I really love like the plot. There's just a lot more plot. Whereas I feel like Pokemon
it was way more complex.
Yeah.
And I felt it really tackled a little bit more serious issues.
Yeah.
It felt deeper.
Yeah.
Which is odd because I was watching it as a child.
Exactly.
But
those are the ones that really made an impact.
Even at that time, I knew that it was way more serious than what Pokemon felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, Pokemon is just like, it's it's essentially like a cartoon. It's just like one-off adventures. Like, oh, let's go have fun, Pikachu, let's go.
Yes.
Whereas like literally like I feel like some of them are like Digimon, the kids, they're going through some depression, they're going through some
They're doing some
things.
serious stuff out there. Yeah.
And I just loved it.
There's like the brother and sister duo. There was turmoil that you could really feel.
Exactly.
And this is our testament for our love for Digimon.
You know?
Even though that's not even what we're talking about.
I know.
That's to preface what we actually wanted to talk about, which is Yu Yu Hakusho. So, listen. If you haven't watched Yu Yu Hakusho, don't watch it because it's just for me.
It was specifically made for
I'm
me
the gatekeeper,
to be enjoyed.
Gatekeep girl boss. What's the joke?
I don't know either, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But yes, Yu Yu Hakusho is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I watch it at least once a year.
Same. You know, it's funny because, okay, here's the background on my experience with Yu Yu Hakusho.
Uh-huh.
I started watching it in the Philippines, which would mean that I probably started watching it around 5
Mm-hmm.
or maybe even earlier. I don't know. But I was very young watching that show. And moving to the States, it wasn't playing.
No,
On
because it
any
didn't
of-
play until later.
It wasn't on Adult Swim, right? No.
When I don't know if it was on Adult Swim, but I know it was in Toonami.
Was it on Toonami?
Because I
In
feel
the
like it was in the
States?
afternoon, or when I found it again. But that was like back in middle school for me.
I feel like it wasn't on Toonami. Really? If it was, I was completely unaware because I felt like the time that I was able to experience it again was in high school. When
Maybe they brought it to Adult Swim eventually. Because I remember watching
Comment
it too,
below
and
if you know.
I know, because honestly at that point I just bought the box set and I would just stream it because I'm like, I have to have it in my life all the time.
You know, I honestly can't remember consuming it until getting back into high school and watching it with you.
Mm-hmm.
Or watching it online.
Yeah. When it became easier to like look for stuff online. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like even in like middle school we were able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah, we were able to look at movies and stuff in middle school
Yeah.
and watch it online illegally. Oh my gosh, am I incriminating myself? I didn't do that.
But we're not gonna get canceled for that one. We're gonna get canceled for the iPhone stuff, so it's okay. They're gonna get
Just
focused on the
kidding.
iPhone stuff.
We're making this story up just for the fun of making up a story. I didn't do any of that. I just incriminated myself. Anyways, yeah, when you
We'll just bleep bleep
watched your purchased box set in your house, that's when I started watching it again. That's what we're gonna stick to. But anyways, going back to my experience with coming back to it, that was when I truly realized how much I loved the show. I knew I loved the show as a kid.
Yeah.
But I think it did way more because it rediscovering your love again for something and seeing its greatness. But also it was like I was watching it for the first time again. And that's how I feel every time I watch Yu Yu Hakusho.
Me too.
It's like I feel like I'm watching it for the first time again. And my memory is so bad that there are certain aspects of the show that I really don't remember. I know the first episode pretty well, but then after that, it gets so blurry. Like, I really can't remember a lot of it, which is why I love to rewatch it over and over and over.
Yeah.
It's one of those where I can really watch it once a year because I just always forget.
Yeah. For me, like, the emotional weight still hits. Like, even though I know what's gonna happen, it's like, oh my God. Like, yes. The moment that beat drops, it's like, dun, 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 dun. You know it.
Honestly, if you are a DJ, please play that at a rave.
Play it at a rave.
I'm going to EDC, so please play it in EDC, I honestly, I would cry. I might pass out.
Yeah.
I might pass out.
It's gonna be so surreal. Like, I would just be like, no, there's no way. There's no way. I would just be like,
Dude,
I wouldn't know how to react.
I'm gonna bring my headphones. So even if they don't play it,
You're just.
it's gonna hit me. At one point, I'm gonna be like, oh wait, I have my headphones. I'm gonna put them in,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna play the Yu Yu Hakusho theme song, and I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, dude, imagine that, like, opening theme. Just, like, playing, and you're in a festival. It's
You're just
like
vibing out, like-
bangers. I mean, I don't know if it's just gonna be us two who's gonna think it's bangers, but bangers.
I don't know. I honestly, I feel like I know that it's popular, but I don't know how much, how popular it is. I don't really talk about it with a lot of people.
Me too.
Well, I don't really talk about shows in general, which is why we want to do this episode.
Yes, that's the reason why. You didn't ask me. Why do we want to talk about this episode?
Why do you want to talk about this episode? I mean, this topic.
It's fun. I love it. I love to talk about things I love.
It is a big part of my personality. I am Yusuke Urameshi.
All of them. Depending on the day.
Honestly, who's your favorite character?
Oh my god, it's so hard to choose.
As you think about it, I actually, because I had this thought a couple thoughts ago.
So just
when we were
3 seconds ago?
It hits it hits just as hard when you watch the show. It's like listening to music and being so in love with the song, and every time you put the song on, it keeps giving you chills.
Yeah.
Even though you know the runs, you know the melody, it's just still such a great masterpiece of a song. It's the same thing with the show, and there are deaths in the show. And spoilers. And I still cry every time. I cry every single time, even though I know when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, and that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I cry. I boo-hoo cry. And yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, you're talking about your characters. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, but every time my go-to is always just like Hiei. It's always just like my go-to answer, but to be honest, it's like the cast itself, the characters, they're just all so lovable. I don't know, it's so hard to choose.
Honestly, same, but let me go ahead and choose. Yogo Kurama for sure.
For sure.
Suichi. I just love the duplicity of it all. Like the fact that there exists two beings. And I remember watching that as a child and being just shook. I was shook when that, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it and you plan to watch it, just the existence of those two beings coming into one, it did something to me as a child. I was like, wait, so is he Suichi or is he Yoko Kurama? Or I was just so confused because as a child you take everything so literally.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wait, if that's him in the human, is he human? Is he what's happening?
Yeah.
And it just the existence of that, I was like, wow, that's so deep. And then it just shows like how people can change and how there's so many layers to people just in general.
That he is both.
He's both.
That's both his identity.
And that to me is, I think it made me see myself differently and people differently. Like, I believe that I'm a walking contradiction, but also believe that everybody is essentially a walking contradiction.
Of course.
And that is where it conceptualized.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And so I was able to accept that very early on in my life, because I think growing up, there were a lot of kids that would get really mad if you were hypocritical.
Yes.
Like, oh, you're such a hypocrite. And that was like such an offense. And that was like
the people like would stop talking to people because like, oh yeah, I stopped talking to her because she's a hypocrite. Like, that's a thing that's so big.
Yeah.
Back then.
And to me, I just never felt like that was a big no-no or that it was the worst thing that anybody could be, because in my mind, like, everybody is a hypocrite. Everybody is
like
a
it
contradiction.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a moment in your time where you're gonna end up doing something that you said you
Wouldn't
wouldn't
do.
because you change.
Or just there's this ability to exist in both
Exactly.
forms, even if it's happening at the same time, which I know it doesn't really make sense, but it does.
Yeah.
And that is where I saw it. So shouts out to
Something.
Yu Yu Hakusho, yeah.
Yu Yu Hakusho creator.
I know, right?
Yeah. Oh, the disrespect.
You
I know.
saw me, like, churning.
I honestly, I'm also churning with
I'm gonna
you because
edit.
I wanted to say it.
I'm gonna edit that out. But anyways, so that for sure, that is actually, I don't think I ever told you that. That's why I
No.
love him so much.
Yeah.
And of course Genkai. Like,
Oh,
hello,
kick
hello.
ass.
Those are my top two for sure.
Yeah. She is just so boss. I do also remember that because my background with Yu Yu Hakusho, like I said, like I just consumed every anime whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But when I did get a chance to rewatch it when I was older, that's also when I started to really like just appreciate everything because again, like I'm thinking about it in a heavier light. So to me, when Genkai was training Yusuke and Yusuke has like that emotional block because like his coping mechanism was just to half-ass everything
Mm-hmm.
so he could, you know, just in case it doesn't work out, like it's okay.
Yeah.
So when Genkai was like, again, the spoilers, you guys. Genkai was like calling him out, like,
Yeah.
you know, the reason, like, you have so much power, you could do so much more, but you know, you keep just half-assing everything.
You're like keeping yourself from greatness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I need you to give 110%.
Mm-hmm. You actually have to commit. Basically.
Exactly.
Stop being a scared little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full ass everything. So that really, like, that moment was really impactful for me. And I was just like, you know what? She's right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's fucking go.
It really speaks to you on a very personal level. And so basically this episode is an advertisement for Yu Yu Hakusho.
We love it.
We love it. Watch it or don't watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of became like a motto in my life where it's like, I felt like she was nagging me. And it's like, she is right. I need to stop half-assing everything. I just need to stop going with the flow and really go after what I want 110%.
I've always wondered how people could not appreciate anime. There are some anime haters out there.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand. How can you hate that? It teaches such great lessons.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember, I mean, it hasn't happened to me personally where people, I've never experienced it, but I feel like there are people who think about it as it's immature and it's, you know, it's for kids or whatever. And yeah, sure, it could
What do you
be
mean
for
it's
kids.
immature? How?
Right?
I need to see proof, examples.
Because they tackle such intricate
topics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just like,
you're immature. How about that?
exactly. Because you're basing it solely because, like, what? It's a cartoon? Maybe? Because, like, you know, maybe they perceive, like, oh, cartoons are made for kids and therefore it's childish. But I don't know.
Cartoons are not made for kids.
It's just something that I don't know why I think that. Maybe it's just, like, online banter or something. But I know now that it's a lot more accepted and there is a bigger, like, love for it, which I appreciate, like anime in general.
It's definitely becoming way more mainstream, which is cool. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, same.
But gosh, such a masterpiece of a show. Do you have a favorite episode or an episode that really sticks out to you?
I really love the episode where Genkai gives, like, you know, the spirit ball test to Yusuke. Like, that one's always kind of like in the top for me. Any fights with Hiei in, like, the tournament, every time he used, like, his dragon, it's just super epic for me. And I remember growing up, or like the first time I saw that scene with Yusuke's ancestor and he fell in love with, like, that badass chick. I just remember I was just like, man, she ain't scared of nothing. everything. I remember
Mhm.
that stood
I was in
out
love with
for
her
me.
too.
Right? It's like there was just something about her that was just
Mhm.
like, damn, she is kick.
She's different.
Yes, yeah.
She's different. I like her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So to me, those are the ones that popped off in my head just
Yeah.
right now.
I think the one that really left an impact for me was. Oh wait, spoiler.
Basically, this whole episode is a
Spoiler alert. Yeah. When Genkai.
Yeah. I also really like that too.
I know. I cried, and just the love that you see between Yusuke and Genkai, I just felt like what a special bond. And yeah, I just really loved how that unleashed this hidden power within Yusuke, and that yeah, don't take your loved ones for granted.
That gave me the chills. I don't know, because I'm like replaying the scene in my head.
Mhm.
She's just like, can't be a slacker anymore.
I know.
I'm like, you're right. You can't.
It's true though. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a go. I mean, honestly, that whole season, the Dark Tournament is honestly
Pretty
the
special.
best. It's no one can compete with any tournament type of anime.
Yeah, don't even try.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching Dragon Ball, like Super, whatever is the most
Recent one?
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
have the tournament
Yeah.
happening, and it's just like,
Yeah.
you know, of course they put out all the stops and they make it all great and everything, but it just does not compete with the way the Dark Tournament was
Right?
designed.
I also watched like Dragon Balls like up to GT, and
Me too,
I know
yeah.
they like did a good amount of like tournament based style, but for me it's just better when they just fight like a big daddy, you know?
Yeah.
No one can do tournaments like Yu Yu Hakusho.
Don't even try.
Yeah. Sorry.
Just kidding.
Not sorry.
Please try. Try, and I'll let you know if you succeed or not.
But I am biased, so
yeah. It's just so beautifully done, the way the storyline was developed, and just chef's kiss.
Yeah. And I think it's just very realistic of like the ability per character.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like always like, oh, they're always gonna win it. I don't know why I feel like some animes do that. But I was just like, I can't believe they didn't win that one.
Honestly, I remember being very frustrated with that as a kid. That used to kill me. Also, when they put in every ounce of their being to win a match, that used to kill me, and I would be like in pain. I would be agonizing the whole episode when they're basically losing.
Yeah.
They're losing the fights, and it's just like, you are my person in this show. Like, you cannot be losing, and you can't lose.
Yeah. Dude, that scene with like Kurama and Karasu, like the way he cries in pain, I'm just like,
I'm crying.
Right? No, no freaking way! I can't believe they're doing this to me. They're torturing.
Honestly,
they're torturing him to torture me.
They're torturing him, and it tortures me.
Please.
Yeah, I know. But comment below if you guys have favorite shows, favorite animes, cartoons, or just shows in general.
Yeah.
And why it makes you feel good, and where the comfort comes from. And yeah, I think that's very interesting what we take away from certain shows.
Yeah.
And like what. That is so interesting, like, you know, how your favorite character, which I love Hiei, of course. Yeah. He was honestly my first favorite character when I watched the show. But over time, my love for Kurama just really blossomed. Yeah. So that became like my number one. And I just think it's interesting how people pick their favorites, and where does that come from, you know?
Yeah. Initially, my favorite character was Yusuke, just because he was just he's the main character.
Yeah, you
Like,
can't help
no
but love
shit.
him. Yeah, yeah.
But eventually, like, it shifts to Hie, and I think that has something to do with like me feeling like an outcast, because that's basically what he was. You know, like
Yeah.
he was a boy born in the
In the-
women village.
Yes.
So
yeah.
they had to throw him
away.
away,
Yeah.
and he's always. I know.
Renz, you felt like you were thrown away. Oh
Not necessarily thrown away. I think it's just like that, where he just always kind of wanted like a community to belong to, because even when he got adopted by like the thieves,
yeah.
there was a part of him that they didn't like, so they also like shunned him. So I think that's where my love for Hie kind of just like grew, the more backstory I learned from him, and how like he doesn't even care about fulfilling like his desires.
Yeah.
It was just like, this is good enough for me, like just watching from a distance, which I guess is like something I like related to a lot.
Oh, I just got
I guess.
Wait, it's good enough for you to be watching a distance. How would you relate to that?
That's always kind of how I like felt sometimes, where it's just like I felt like people found me annoying, so I was just like, I'll just watch from a distance, people having fun. I love to watch people. So it was that, I think.
Wow.
But at a certain point, I'm like, you're crazy. Just interact with people; they'll interact back to you. I was just awkward. Or I felt awkward.
I don't know why she's using the word was. I'm just kidding.
I know.
Kidding, I'm just kidding. I'm just
Both.
kidding.
But now I am outwardly awkward. Before I was inwardly awkward, where it's just like,
I know. No, this was the old school. This was the OG.
yeah, no, for real.
That was the OG. Comment below if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you saying that, now I am remembering why I fell in love with Hiei first.
Mhm.
Yusuke to me was like, of course he's great because he's the main character.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do the typical thing by just falling in love with like the main character.
Yeah.
Because the other characters are also so special.
Yeah.
And Hiei and his, lone wolf vibe
Mhm.
really just spoke to me as well. It was definitely very relatable. And yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Damn, there was a thing that I was gonna say too, and I can't remember. I lost it. I was gonna ask you a question about something.
I'll probably come back in
Hopefully.
a bit. Yeah. And then I do love that as I got older, I got to appreciate like the other characters, because like Kuwabara
Yeah.
like, you know, like back then I just didn't appreciate fools. I was just like, this guy is a fool. He ugly. Why is he here? But then the more you grow up, it's just like, oh, he has his strengths too. He's not just a weak dude.
I was gonna say that I hated Kuwabara as a child, and then you were telling me that was like Jackie's favorite.
It's Jackie's his favorite character.
And when you said that, for some reason in my mind I was like, nobody could love this guy.
Yeah.
Like as a child.
Yeah, that was my thought too. It's like, why? Why would you put him in?
He's so unlovable. But now as an adult you see the value that he brings to the group, because in my mind he was
humanity.
Useless. Yeah, he was useless in my mind.
Yeah.
And
same. Why is that?
I think it was the way he was treated by our favorite characters. Right? Like the fact that Hiei and him always like clashed.
Yeah.
It was, I'm gonna side with the character that I love.
Yeah.
And so I think that had something to do with why I didn't like him.
Yeah.
And he was just a pest. He was annoying. Yeah.
I think it's also like, maybe when I was younger, I just really admired strength. Like physical strength. So it's just like, dude,
he was
be losing all the freaking time. It's so that's why maybe I saw him as a pest. Because literally you have to carry this dude.
He's a weakling.
Yeah.
Or the weakling in the group.
Yeah.
But his strengths lie in other qualities.
Exactly.
And we just did not, I guess, see those qualities as like important.
Yeah. But then as you get older, you realize like,
there's
more things than just winning. it's also just about like keeping your friends grounded and caring for other people, because that was his strength, caring for people and understanding
he was the
people.
most caring.
Yeah.
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 That's so true. Yeah, he had just this moral code.
Mm-hmm. That's why Jackie loves him.
Yeah, and that is why he's lovable. He has the moral code in the group.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Oh.
I know, right? I think the relationships in the show were very interesting to watch because it felt very real.
Yeah.
Because they were very catty with one another, and they were very they were assholes to each other.
Yeah.
Even the main character and his relationship with his mom, I don't think I can't remember a show where they did have a relationship like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Usually they're just orphans.
Or it was the first that I was able to experience where the relationship between the guardian and like the main character were like
equal footing.
They were just catty with each other, and they were like, you knew that they loved each other, but there was something there that they clashed, and there was just I don't know, it was just interesting to see, and I'd never seen that done anywhere else. At that point in time.
That point, yeah. And even now, I'm like trying to remember.
Because usually they're going to, create, parents that are loving and like just kind of like the typical type, I would say, where it's not really that relationship where Yusuke was raised by a single mom and she had him when she was young. Yeah. And so, yeah. Right? It's like a different... It's just different. Yeah. Yeah.
Because usually, they're just adults living their adult life, working.
They're just kind of like background. Yeah. But because of that relationship, you really got a better understanding of Yusuke.
Exactly. Like why he is the way he is.
And just their interaction and how they designed the interaction between them. You really got a better understanding of people. Right?
It's just very well-rounded. They're not just cookie-cut people where it's like, oh, we have to give him a parent, I guess. So here's a person.
Yeah, it's like they really took into consideration, well, what kind of parent and what kind of conversations are they having? And, it felt real.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that. That's one of my favorite things about the show is how the relationships were designed.
Yeah. And if you think about it, that applies to every guardian that each of the characters had, like Waikuwabara is the way he is because of his sister, and like how Suichi became Suichi because of his mom.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. And why Hiei
is he? Yeah. Because he had no one.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. You really understand that people's environment, it does a lot in creating who they are as a person.
Yeah. And I know that I think Hiei was supposed to be just like a one-off villain because that's how it starts off. He's just like this random villain.
Yeah.
And then eventually he kind of just became like a fan favorite. So then the creator were like, okay, let's bring him to the team. And then how you could see the change in him because of like he was just a cookie cut villain in like that first couple episodes that he appeared. And then as soon as he joined like the group dynamic, how it really changed him.
That's another thing I love is the character development.
Yeah.
It's again chef's kiss. It's beautiful. If you don't like character development, if you don't like
heavy topics,
don't watch the show.
Powerful music, it's not for you.
That also has a lot to do with it, is the scoring, like the music for the show is just incredible.
Yes.
Yeah. Gives you chills.
It does.
And it's like, dude, you're just making music for a show.
There's literally only like 2 scores.
It's really just
3 source.
You know what? It's the little details. It's the
Yeah.
little details that truly make something a masterpiece, where you feel that the creators were intentional with the work that they were designing, and it just hits different. Because it could have just been like, oh yeah, just put a song, whatever.
Yeah,
Or,
like something upbeat here, something here.
yeah, or maybe that's what they did.
But it's like the person who came up with it, though. It's just
Yeah.
like they knew what the hell they were doing.
They knew what they were doing.
It's just like, okay, I got you. And then it's like, dude, that's freaking perfect. Because up to now, like I said, I'm pretty sure I said this in like my other podcasts, what empowers us. And then I say, like, I play that like power up theme whenever I feel like I need a boost. Like sometimes I'm running in the gym and I'm like, oh my God, dude, I'm freaking tired. So I'll play like the power up theme, and it's like, all right, let's go for another mile, I guess.
You know how you say you watch a show once a year? When do you determine that it's the right time to watch the show? Is there like a specific thing that inspires you to rewatch it?
Yeah. I thought about it a couple times, actually, because like sometimes the urge is there, but I'm like, dude, I just literally watched it like 3 months ago. I need to chill. But no, sometimes like I do it early in the year because it's like, oh, it's a new year. It's like January, so I'm like Yu Yu Hakusho time. And then sometimes I'm like, you know what? I just need like a comfort show, so I'll just like put it on. So I don't know if there's any real rhyme or reason. It's just I just feel it. I always like wonder how it would be if it gets rebooted. That's always
I was just thinking that.
Cloud.
I was gonna say if you could reboot or like just make any type of changes, what would you do?
Yeah.
With the show?
Yeah.
What was your question?
It wasn't a question. It's just a wondering.
If they did reboot it, like
how would it look like? I like try to picture it. Like, would it be a spin-off? Would it be an ultimate? Because like how the same creator also created Hunter x Hunter, and then like that got rebooted, which is basically the exact same storyline. They just took off like the filler episodes. Whereas I feel like Yu Yu Hakusho, another reason why I really really loved it is because honestly, no filler.
That's true. Yeah.
It's honestly like that's what when I rewatched it again, like maybe like the third time or the fourth time, I was just like, you know what? Like I watched it from like the beginning to end, no skipping or whatever, so I could appreciate it. And I'm like, I just realized that I'm really, really invested because there's no filler. Unlike the other old shows that I rewatched where it's like, oh man, come on, this episode, filler.
Yeah.
Or another recap, because like they used to do that too, where it's like they'll have like a recap episode and it's like,
what's the point?
I don't need it.
Come on, I want to move on. And I feel like that is what kind of makes a great show or story. It's you just feel that everything is so intentional.
Yeah.
And you are invested because you really feel the meaning of everything that the creator is putting out.
Yeah.
Whereas when there is an episode where it feels like it's a filler, or you feel like this was pointless, or this did not really do anything to move the story forward.
Yeah.
It lessens the impact. And I even like, okay, let's say you're watching a film, like a 2-hour long film. There are certain shots that sometimes I feel like in the film, like
if we take this out, would it change?
You could do without this shot. You didn't really need that scene. But there are certain films where even if nothing is really going on in the scene, you knew that shot was so necessary.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And it's so weird. Why in some films you can do that? Interesting.
It is.
But yeah, you're right. There are no filler episodes in Yu Yu Hakusho that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Comment below if you disagree. I would love to hear your opinion.
Because obviously they still have like flashbacks and stuff like that, because it's kind of still very necessary back in the 90s to just kind of always remind like the viewer like, oh,
what happened?
By the way,
there was no binging like there is today.
Yeah. But Whereas like other animes, I feel like, they'll go on a fishing trip. And if you took out that fishing trip, it wouldn't matter because it's not like they learned anything new.
There's not really much development in that, hypothetical episode. You know what? I was rewatching Sailor Moon last year during quarantine, and they do that a lot where in the beginning of the episode they recap the last episode, and then at the end of the episode they showcase what's coming up next. And I would get a little annoyed because it's like, just give me an actual episode, like don't tell me. But then you think about it and it's like, that's what they had to do to keep people interested, because you had to wait a week for the new episode to air. And it's just such a different time. I wonder what more they could do to make things more convenient. It's just, we're growing so much in convenience. You know what? Maybe it'll go back around where we're going to loop back to making things not as convenient, and because it's not as convenient, there's more of a novelty to it, so it'll attract more people because it's like, oh, you have to wait a week.
I mean, like some of them are like doing that, like Disney with like the Loki episodes and stuff like that.
Their new shows and stuff.
I know HBO also kind of does that. So I think I still kind of like it, to be honest, because it's just like, it
creates
like
suspense.
I know it makes me appreciate that episode, because when I'm binging, it's like it becomes like this one blur of like a day where it's like, oh, I know that happened, but when did it happen?
And you know what? Shows happen so quickly. There are all these little details that we can miss, especially if the writing for the show is really good, and they are able to incorporate a lot of little details that are easily missed. So because you have that week-long period to wait, you can rewatch the episode and you take new things from it every single time you rewatch it. Because I love rewatching.
Me too. Because I feel like when you have like something to binge, well, for me, first and foremost, you just get invested to the story, so you just like hyper focus on like the development of the story. And then, as you said, like, if you can have like a little bit of time to rewatch it again, that's when you start picking up like, oh, there was a foreshadowing actually. There's these clues along the way that I didn't think of because I was too focused on just like, where's this story going?
Yes. Yeah, you're just like hang on every word. You don't realize like a couple sentences ago, like, oh wait, they were actually referring to that.
Yeah.
And
that's why those like YouTube analysis channels are like so big, and I'm so addicted to them.
Because
I gotta know.
Comment below, who's your favorite YouTube show
analyst?
We know words.
Spirit gun. I remember when I was a child, I was just so in love with it. I would actually just keep doing this. Which, if you're not watching the visual, I'm just doing spirit guns because, spoiler alert, that's the main dude's power. He throws spirit guns.
Yeah, I know.
So I would just be like,
yeah, I used to stand in front of the mirror and I used to focus real hard to see if I could create my own spirit gun. Just focus.
Oh, you have it in you.
I didn't. It never happened for me, unfortunately.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of over it now, whatever. But also, during my rewatch of the anime, because it's very common for the protagonist and the characters to be young. So to me, I was just like, you forget that Yusuke started as like a 15-year-old, 13-year-old.
Wasn't he in middle school?
Yeah, he was a middle schooler, but like I forget that because like when I was young, I was like, oh, that's old enough, dude, that's old enough. But then now that you're old, you're like, what the hell?
Wait a minute, that's way too young.
Right? The fate of the earth rests on a middle
child, basically. And a lot of shows are like that. Yeah. And I guess it is designed to pull like young viewers in,
Mm-hmm.
and so I guess
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It only makes sense. But I'm just like, damn, imagine a 13-year-old just talking at you like, you little punk.
Why couldn't they make an anime about somebody in their 20s?
We should do that.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah. I'm going to crop that out so no one can
I know. Honestly, though.
But that would be so cool.
Wow.
We'll talk about it in our Magical Girls episode.
A promo for our new anime that's being released.
Eventually.
Yeah. A big reason why we wanted to talk about this topic, at least for me, was because this platform is just for us to own our sense of self and to talk about the things that we enjoy and love, and to hopefully build a community around that.
Yes.
And also with watching shows and movies and stuff, you really get to learn about yourself and the world, because there's a lot of like lessons, especially like we talked about Yu Yu Hakusho. There are like,
and then like, you know, when you get to ask those type of questions like, oh, why is that your character, like you really start to realize like, oh,
you realize stuff about yourself.
It's a reflection
for sure.
Anyway,
so yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this topic. If you did enjoy that topic, email us, share it with your friends and family. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Yu Yu Hakusho together. I can talk about it.
What's your favorite anime? And we could also talk about that.
We'll watch it. If I haven't watched it, I'll definitely, if you make a strong enough case as to why I should watch it, I'll definitely go ahead and watch it. And also, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, follow us so you know we release new episodes every Tuesday. But other than that, we love you. We hope you are taking care of yourself and being authentically yourself. There's a butterfly flying outside. And what? Okay. We'll see you guys later. Peace out. Bye.